Hello and welcome to the Philippines. This is a hobble ride, a motorbike taxi ride I took from Gaisano Island Mall on Mactan Island. And this is going down kind of the frontage road, going to exit off over the bridge going over to Mandaue City, Cebu City area. And it was a little bit early in the afternoon, and I was having a hard time flagging down a taxi, so I finally caught this motorbike taxi, habal. He quoted me 100 pesos, which is about $2 US, and that's a fair price, very fair price. I have walked across this bridge before, many months ago when I seemed to be a shortage of taxis and hobble drivers, and I put a video up of that also. This is the older two-lane bridge going across, and just to the right a ways is a newer four-lane bridge. Sometimes this older bridge traffic moves better than the other bridge, because the other bridge seems to get an awful lot of the airport traffic and business, industrial type traffic, trucks coming and going over there. During a rush hour, mornings and afternoon, I've even had it at 3 in the afternoon, where it took me an hour to get across the bridge in a taxi. Just very, very slow. So it just depends on what's going on, how much traffic is out there. But getting across that bridge from Mactan Island over to Cebu can be a bit of a pain. The main ferry and freight piers are down there, and Cebu City is off there in the distance. As we cross the bridge, we come into Mandaue City, and then if you're taking a taxi over to Cebu City, they will turn either at one of the first lights, turn left and take one of the main roads going that way, or they will continue on into Mandaue City a ways, depending upon what your destination is, and turn left and go in that direction. There are a number of malls in Mandaue City over here, Pacific Mall, Park Mall. There's several developments going on. Mandani Bay is a huge development that's going to transform the area over here. There are a number of condominiums that are in the process of being built. A couple new hospitals very near, across over here. The new Chunghwa Hospital and the new UC Med Center. Taxis have raised their rates in the last couple of months, so where a white cab would usually cost maybe 200 pesos. If I took it from the airport up to Lahug, up by IT Park, it would usually cost me 200 pesos, or about $4 US. It's probably closer to 300 pesos now, and that being because they've adjusted it so it's more by the kilometer, and also it accounts for the time in traffic. They used to get really penalized if they had to sit in traffic, and I think that's fair. It's still quite cheap fare for most of us, and sit in traffic for 30 minutes or an hour, and basically we're getting paid little or nothing for that time. So they've adjusted to account for some of the time sitting in traffic. You have a couple options, or more than a couple options at the airport. You have the white taxis, meter taxis, and they are generally the cheapest option. You have yellow airport taxis that generally charge about twice as much, and the reason they do that is because they are dedicated to the airport. They drop somebody off, and then they usually return to the airport empty. So basically you have to pay for the empty trip going back, where the white taxi can pick up another fare anywhere. And you know, that happens in much of the transportation company. If you're hauling freight from one point to another and that truck is dedicated to your company, or that train car, whatever, you've got to pay for that thing to come back empty as well. A couple other options is MyBus, a company called MyBus, I believe, which is owned by the SM Mall Corporation. And they have pickups at the airport. For most destinations, I think it's 25 pesos, or about 50 US cents, at 50 pesos to the US dollar at the present time. And then I've heard that there's a new operation that just started about July 1st, and I don't remember the name of it, but there's another bus operation that's going to start running into the airport and out to the various malls. And the MyBus goes to several different destinations. Goes to SM Mall, goes to Park Mall. They stop and pick and let people off in front of a couple of hospitals. I've seen them down by Osmeña Circle, picking up and dropping people off at the Robinson's malls down there. So it is a changing situation, and they continue to add more stops. I believe the fare is going to be about the same as MyBus for both bus companies. And then if you go out further, they even go as far south as Talice, which is still part of the Cebu City metro area, but it's probably 10 kilometers down there. My hobble driver is quite talkative, and in this instance it was okay because he spoke loud enough where I could hear him, and he was being careful, he was paying attention to what was going on in front of us, around us. Occasionally I get a motorbike driver that is distracted when they're talking to me. They're turning their head halfway around to talk to me, and when they do that, they're not watching traffic quite as well. So I will usually tell them that it's too noisy, I can't hear you. One thing I find interesting in the Philippines is that there's very little road rage. There's I don't know about the rest of the world, but in the U.S. there's a lot of aggressive drivers, and if you try to weave in and out of traffic or try to get ahead of the other traffic, somebody's going to get real upset, and there could be a fight. There could be it might not end well anyway. People will do their best to, oftentimes, to cut you off and not let you in. And it's not always the case, but there's quite a bit of that. But there's lax enforcement. There's not a lot of enforcement, although they've been hiring more traffic enforcers. Usually that means that there's more people at some of the busy intersections. They move them around during busy times of the year, busy times of the day. But you don't see police cars very rarely. There are motorcycle police, traffic police. You very seldom see them. Occasionally you'll see a checkpoint where they're pulling over motorbikes, checking registration, licenses, helmets. A couple of weeks ago, I saw them pulling over jeepneys and checking IDs for people in jeepneys. One jeepney, the people were disembarking, they were checking IDs. It seemed like they were looking for somebody in particular. They must have had some intelligence that a bad person was going to be traveling into or through the area. This is a pretty big industrial area down through here, and coming up to off the left, we passed the Bai Hotel, I think one of the biggest hotels in the Philippines. And up here on the right ways you have SM Mall, you have the Radisson Blue Hotel. Anyway, thank you for coming along. Please like, please share the video, please subscribe. Safe travels to you all wherever you're at, and I'll put up a second part to this a little bit later. I've got a couple other videos I will probably do first, but anyway, safe travels, and we'll see you next time.